Hi, everyone. Welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I've got some new subscribers on board, so thank you very much for that. I hope you enjoy the Soulprint community. We're pretty nice. All right. Um, Private readings. If anybody's looking for a private reading, in the information box below is an email address, soulprint888@gmail.com. Just send me out a quick little email saying you want reading information, and I will send you everything you need to know. Don't forget to put your questions in the comment section below. I believe the amazing Joyce will be on it this week. And so I will see you then on Friday. If by some bizarre reason you missed the video that went out earlier this week with Kathy Beale, who has that YouTube channel, Professional Aquarian. So she comes on regularly to unscramble our heads and help us understand what is going on astrologically and on what, impact it has on different situations or different players. That was like a really, really interesting conversation we had. Okay, well, mostly I didn't talk that much, so it wasn't kind of a lopsided, but she comes on because she's wise and I'm not. And so if you have, for some crazy reason, missed it, it was out earlier this week. So go into my channel just by hitting the little picture of me, and it'll take you to the most recent videos. All right. I want to take a look and see what is going on behind the scenes. So this is the thing, right? Like, you got people who apparently not only did they lose their spine, but for many of them, you have, like, I'm thinking of some of the people that Trump has put into cabinet positions, right? I mean, these people are so not qualified for that kind of heavy hitting, important jobs that they have been assigned to. Yeah, you have literally people who are going to be heading departments and don't know the basics of, whether it's the health department or the education department or whatever else. Truly just don't know the basics. So how on earth are they supposed to be the secretary of? But this is the thing. Okay, like, there's a lot of them that are really, really unqualified. But that doesn't mean that they are incredibly obtuse or stupid. More that their ego and their greed has, supersedes all. So the question I'm kind of wanting to get at here is what's going on, like, behind the scenes, behind closed doors with Trump and the things he's saying and doing his behavior. How is that um, presenting itself behind the scenes, right? What's going on with the people who come out of a meeting with him and then just sort of all roll their eyes at each other, right? Um, Nobody's going to rat out the next person because they all sort of recognize they're there on really shaky ground as it is. So for right now, it just sort of feels like there might be stuff going on behind Trump's back that would just make him crazy. So let's take a look and see if we can figure out what is possibly going on behind the scenes in Washington, at the White House, at Mar-a-Lago. What do we think has been going on? Let's find out, shall we? Behind the scenes Trump world, behind the scenes Trump world, behind the scenes Trump world. Just, you know. Here we go. Okay. Right now, there is a lot of, oh my God, did you hear what he just said going on? Okay. So this is the right now. He is normally, and may very well show up that way, the King of Pentacles or the Fool. Those tend to be my two cards for him. But right now, the message that is being represented by this card pertaining to him is that he's all about talking. He's all about saying what he wants to say. He's all about sending out, mixed messages left, right, and center, because that's what he does. All right. But we have to remember and understand that there is a method to the madness, whether we like it or not. Okay. And he's very good at diverting our attention. He's very good at saying things that are so outrageous. You can't credit them with being serious, except they are. And he means them in some part of his brain. And so right now, he's just spewing. He's just spewing. And he basically wants to see what's going to, stick to the wall. But there's a lot of concern behind the scenes by, hang on a second, please. Hopefully, this will be quiet, but we shall see. So this is what's going on. You've got the Judgment card, but you've also got the Four of Swords. So there is concern. There are conversations that are going on behind the scenes very quietly. There is concern about his health, his stamina, his cognitive skills. In fact, there's just concern all over the place. But the people who are around him are well aware of what works and what doesn't work. Okay. And one of the things that doesn't work is basically saying, well, you can't do that, or you're not allowed to do that, or that's not working out so well for you. So what you have is a lot of juggling going on, right? A lot of, okay, well, I thought, okay, I guess we're not going in that direction anymore. I guess we're going in this direction. There's just a lot of that. It's creating a lot of stress around him. There's infighting. There's people scraping at each other. And, it's interesting because this time he doesn't have sort of that family right around him. And I'm not sure that they did any good, but in some ways, how do I want to say this? Even though we, as outsiders looking in, weren't exactly sure how much help the Kushners were doing at the White House, exactly what they were doing, but there was at least sort of a feeling that there was somebody in his vicinity who, at least to some degree, would be watching out for him, right? It's my dad, right? Maybe, and so we're going to pay a little closer attention to what's going on around him. Not necessarily that they can control it, because I think they proved they can't, but they're keeping their eyes open. But what you have now is a situation where he really is, that inner circle of his are all people who have just said yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. There's no balance there, right? Unless you are praising him to high heaven, you are not um, good enough for him to acknowledge. All right. So we've got people around him who see him far more clearly than I'm sure even their kid or his kids, but they are all motivated by their own agendas, every one of them. And so what you have is this sort of this perpetual, juggling of balls, trying to find balance, trying to keep things in moderation and keep things calm. And as soon as one thing has calmed down, if he doesn't, bloody well open his mouth and set something else on fire again. That's what's going on. And so behind the scenes, you have people who are like stressed out. They're scared. That's one of the things that I think we need to, I don't know, maybe be a little bit more aware of or sensitive to, is the fact that a lot of what is going on, a lot of where you see sort of a lack of resistance, where you would expect resistance, the more you start to realize the kind of threats, allegedly, that have been levied against the people that surround him. So on the one hand, they're like, oh my God, like, can you just imagine? And the other hand, they're like, don't rock the emperor with no clothes, right? Don't piss him off. Don't get him upset. And for God's sakes, don't tell him the truth. And so, what you've got there is a group of people who are all running around trying to cover their own butts and not upset the guy. And so there is, you know what, when I step into that energy, I almost want to say that chaotic is too mild a word to describe what is going on. It's just right. And then there's all of these concerns about, money, about who's getting treated different than somebody else, who is somehow more special. So there's a lot of that is also, and what's interesting there is that people are simply like they're stepping back and watching, as opposed to sticking their nose in there, right? Everybody's trying to position themselves, right? Okay. These are the next 5 cards. So we have the 6 of Wands. This is the recognition card, the victory card. That's what they do, right? They just continually pump up his ego. Don't forget, when he was sitting in court, there was somebody who was working full time to, cut out articles that said he was amazing and put them in a binder so that they could keep him occupied while he was in court. For him, it's just like, as long as there's attention coming to him. And sometimes he really likes the crazy attention because it gets everybody all rattled and everybody's all riled up and everybody's running around trying to figure out what to do. And he just sort of sits back, right? Problem is, he's got some real unfortunate luck coming his way. Here he is represented as he most usually is, that greedy king. But what we've got here is we got the 8 of Wands followed by the Ace of Swords. So it feels very much like over the next little while, short while, you're going to see where things are going to start to sort of fall apart or perhaps not be as well received. There's going to be a lot of information flying around. And, if I had to time this, I would say, we're looking at the last week of February through to the end of March. Feels like, and I think Kathy may very well have referenced sort of that time frame as a time where there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be revisited, they're going to be reviewed. There's going to be a lot of information coming out. And he may Um, this is sort of the thing, right? Day by day, judges are saying to him, no, you can't do that. Stop what you're doing, unfreeze whatever you froze, right? He's getting stopped at every turn, and it's getting him a little cranky. But you know what? Let's keep this in perspective. There's way more judges in the country of the United States who are prepared to do the right thing than there is one apparently really corrupt 45/47. All right. So what you're going to see is everybody and their dog is going to keep on suing him for every stupid thing that he does or tries to shut down or tries to implement. Okay, that's a given. But what this is telling me is that it will be, in many, many cases, the courts that are going to put a stop to what sort of this whirlwind of destruction. And it's hard to believe that the Supreme Court is sort of up for the job, because they certainly have not appeared to be impartial. But ultimately, there's going to be such a collection of failures of the law stepping in and saying, no, just stop it. No, you're not doing that. You're not going to do that either. That eventually they're going to start to add up, and he's going to start losing even more credibility, particularly with the megas that are still hanging on. And the road becomes more and more arduous for him. Frankly, it becomes more difficult and more challenging. And the tighter he tries to hold on, the worse it's going to get for him. And the people around him are like, honest to God, come on, people are like 3 and 4 weeks into a job, and they're exhausted, and there's no um there's not a way to get through to him when he doesn't want to be gotten through to. And so you have a lot of people around him who are nervous, they're frustrated. um they spend a lot of time just shaking their heads going, how are we going to fix that? Because this is the thing, you may have the Heritage Fund and Leonard Leo, and you may have all of that, and Project 2025, that's all there, it's all in place. But you still have a loose cannon representing all of that stuff. And I think that um sorry, my head just went absolutely blank. Um okay, so it's gone. I don't know what I was saying. Um Anyways, listen, I'm going to wrap it up because clearly my brain just took a vacation without giving me any prior notice. I hope everybody is okay. Everybody is doing well. It's finally starting to warm up here a little bit in central Alberta. So I'm kind of grateful for that, I can tell you. Don't forget to put your questions in the thing. Don't forget the Dropbox is where you're going to find information on private readings. Thank you ever so much for all of your support. Until next time, take care and be well. See you really soon. Bye for now.